Hey guys, so for this video I want to talk all about opening. Opening is the part of throwing that follows centering. And there are a couple of different ways to go about opening, and I want to do a couple of videos covering those different ways because it really impacts how your pots will come out. I want to focus in and do like a deep dive in this video just into opening for a cylinder, which means the bottom of the cylinder is going to be flat and the walls are going to be straight. So I'm going to make sure that my forearms are down on my legs. I'm going to touch my right hand, sort of the center of my first finger on my right hand, to the pad of my thumb on my left for a little added stability, right? Otherwise you're just kind of like this with nothing to brace. So you want to brace across your body or bridge using your arms to connect through to your legs. So looks like this. I'm going to add a little bit of water, and I'm going to lead with my middle finger on my right hand and support my middle finger on my right hand with the ring finger on my right hand. So it looks like this. Going straight down in. Now, there's sort of a sweet spot that you have to find here. So one of the most important things about opening is finding the point closest to the center, but not exactly in the center, that'll allow you to easily kind of drill a hole down in and then pull open. What happens is, if you get too close to the center point, or you're directly over the center point, it'll pull you around a little bit, and it'll be very difficult to make a hole that is in the center of the piece of clay. It'll often pull you kind of off center. So there's a way that you can find exactly where you need to be pushing, right? So if you work your way in from the side like this, and you get to a point where you start to grow this little point right in the center, once you see that happening, move forward a tiny little bit more, and you'll know you're right in the sweet spot. And I'm working my way right down in. Just want to keep this nice and dry inside so you can see what I'm doing. In order to test the bottom thickness, you're going to want to use a needle tool, like this. You get to a point when you can sort of tell how thick things are, right? But I'm going to work down to, maybe about half an inch at the center point to the bat. So half an inch of clay at the center point. And that's so I can do a high foot. So I'm going to just take my needle tool, run it down and through the bottom, and then slide my finger up to the clay. So push right down through, slide my finger up, and then that's what I have there. So that's about a half an inch. Maybe a hair more, which I think is probably good. So, just make sure you add a little extra compression over that hole when you go to test the bottom thickness, and that will give you, that will make sure to kind of close that up. Okay guys, so the next thing we need to do is actually pull this open. So that means we're going to grab onto this sort of ring of clay and pull it out, and that will leave sort of a base or a shelf behind, and that's going to be the bottom of the pot. So I'm going to add a little water. You always want to add just enough water to keep everything lubricated, but not any more. Like, you don't want water like flying off your bat. That's too much. So just enough so that your fingers feel like the clay's slipping by, like nothing's grabbing. So I like this hand position very much for opening. I have all three fingers together on my right hand. My forearm is down on my leg to provide stability, and I'm bridging across my body, so my right hand is touching my left hand, and my left hand, my left forearm is also down on my leg, so I'm like really stable, right? Bridged across. So it looks like this. I'm just going to hook my fingers slightly and just pull straight across the bottom. What I mean by straight across the bottom is I'm pulling a line that is parallel to the bat. I'm here, and I'm going to gently release the pressure. If I let go all at once, I'm going to show you an example. If I let go all at once, what will happen is this, right? Because when you're pulling on that wall, the wall is actually oval. So if you release the pressure all at once, you can see that oval still. If you release pressure gradually, the clay will come back to round. So that's actually a really important thing, always releasing pressure gradually. Pretty much across the board with pottery making. Applying and releasing pressure gradually is super important. Okay, so I'm just going to do a little work on the interior now. And what I mean by that is I want the bottom of this pot, the walls are going to come straight up. So it's going to be like straight across the floor and then straight up. So I just want to kind of clarify what's going on in the center here. So I'm going to use my ring and middle finger on my right hand. You can actually do this kind of with either hand, but what's very important is which direction you move, right? So I'm going to move from the center point off to the right until I get into the corner. And then I'm going to work my way back to the center point again. Okay, so now you can see the bottom is very flat and is not curved, it's parallel to the bat. So it's flat on the bottom and then the walls are vertical. Since this video is specifically about opening for cylinders, there's one last thing I'm going to do like before I would start to pull the cylinder. What that is I'm just going to collar the walls in slightly. So to do that you need a little extra water on the outside of the wall, and we're just going to like stand the wall up. Right now it's flared open a little bit from the opening, that's normal. So now we're going to stand it up. So to do that I use a very similar technique to how I teach centering, right hand fingertips and heel of the left hand, like this. And I'm just going to pull in and then gently release pressure. And now you can see the inside of the wall is slightly conical, right? So it's like there's a bit of a corner in there. So flat bottom, slight cone. That's how you want to start a cylinder. Really, throughout the whole pulling of a cylinder, you really want to be pulling a cone. And then kind of each pull brings it back out to being a cylinder or a vertical wall. Okay, so that's kind of what we need to know for opening. Okay guys, thanks for watching my video on opening. Stay tuned. In the next video I'm going to be demonstrating opening for bowls. So really distinct difference between opening for cylinders and opening for bowls is the basic like interior shape of the centered and opened piece of clay. For cylinders you want a right angle, and for bowls you want a curve. So check out my opening for bowls video next. Thanks for watching.